So, first we always want to call in kind of align with Source Spirit first, and our intention with you here today is to raise consciousness, to assist you all and us all together in energetic healing, just flowing through the system, whatever else comes up. So our goal is to make ourselves available with this loving intent and to flow into what comes up naturally between our energies and this gift is so such a great spirit guides. So, all right.
Sharing and connecting to our collective and raising the vibration. We all need to do that. So this is doing our part to share that space. So beautifully said. And I think really looking at where we are in a consciousness position, we're really letting go of past. So that past connection, the old self, we've got to clear it out a little bit, and it's finding, well, how do we do that? How do we find the space to do that when we kind of get up and we get into this pattern of get up and go, for me, get up, feed the animals, find some food, and then keep going. And it's taking a moment to kind of stop, reset that day, and like pause a little bit, have a still moment sometime in your morning to just set your intentions. So maybe we can start with that and see where we end up.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Yeah, and it's so important how we start our day. And for me, to open first and start with spirit, and it's like God, self, others. So if we're not connecting to source or connecting to spirit first, then a lot of times we're working on our own smaller self energy, and we'll find ourselves depleted or going off track or going off course. So if we can catch ourselves and say, oh, and this, connect, how briefly, just a still moment, breathe. Okay, and call in the presence, raise the consciousness, and then go on with the day, because life does get in the way. So that's important.
Yeah, I love that. So why don't we do that even just here now? Just take a quiet moment just to be still, and then maybe you could pull a card and see what comes up for the collective consciousness for now,
Yeah.
and see what message we can talk about. So, all right. I like to, when I'm having a quiet moment, when I close my eyes, I'd like to remind my eyes just to soften all the way to the back of the eyeballs. Just let them go heavy. Because for me, through the optical nerve, it just tells the brain this is a safe place to be, to let go. And have that still moment. And just all we're doing right now is feeling, being present. In that gap, I just like to let go of thoughts, and I just listen to my environment, all the sounds. Before I set my intentions, just be for a moment. Listen to the birds or the loudest sounds. And then let them go and listen to the softest sounds. What are the quiet sounds around you? What are the feeling and the energies of your own body? Is there a warmth or a coolness, or what are you feeling in your body? Just bringing that awareness of self in this moment. And then setting your intentions for your day. And let's set it for the collective energy. Now it's letting go of the past, clearing out the old. We're going to welcome that journey, whatever comes from that journey. We're going to welcome that the old can go, so that new doors can open. And remembering how really powerful letting go is. It just means that there's space. If your mind is busy, new thoughts are hard to come in. If your world is busy, then new experiences are hard to come in. If you clear a little bit of space, new things can come in. We're just going to set that basic intention right now. Do you want to add to that, Gina?
Oh, yes. As we connect in and we let go, there's an opening for something new. And we let go of all past. Let's take a deep breath. And we hold that for a few minutes. And exhale. And let the release of the breath symbolize the letting go. If you can focus on something in your mind, something that doesn't serve you, something that you may be troubled by, and just think about that for a moment, because we're going to let that go right now. And as we do that, take another deep breath to the count of 4. We'll hold that for 6. And then exhale to 7. Letting that go and releasing that back to the universe, making space for something new, something loving, something joyful, playful, kind. Remember that we're here to follow our bliss, to be joyful like little children, to let go of all the heavy burdens and play. So as you take another deep breath to the count of 4, we'll hold that for 6. And then release to the count of 7. And that's the final release, to let go of anything that's not serving you, anything that's holding back from the joyful, playful inner child that wants to get out and play. Anything that is of anxiousness or worry or resentment, we let all of that go here now. And as we let all that go, our consciousness, our energy is able to rise. Holding on to those things are like weights around us. So as we let each one of them go, we free up our energy to rise, our consciousness to rise, to connect more to love, to connect more to our true divine self. And then we can go joyfully into the world and interaction with others and create the lives that we dreamed of. Okay, we can open our eyes.
You know, it's a lovely way to just do just a little reset. And it's interesting, I was considering, what the letting go part. What is really limited beliefs? It's actually just what we don't let go of. What gets in our way? What's the limitation? And beliefs and limitations are just things we hold on to. And
Yeah.
that's really all it is. And it's just not letting go. So, if you believe something so strongly, it no longer matters if it's truth or lies, because it's just something you're holding. And, and that's what I love about letting go, is you can let it be something different, something more, or become more solid for you, if it's a foundational thing. And that letting go allows it to enhance you in another way. And I might be just seeing that it was in the way, or in its opposite, maybe that feeling supports you. So it's nice just to take a moment to let some things go and feel your true self, and how we just hold on to things. And that's partly why the physical body ends up with ailments and things, because it's just a mind that hasn't let go, and the body's the storage vault. Pops it in this little corner and that little corner until it all builds up, and suddenly those little belief systems or thoughts and feelings all have conflict within our own body, and we have to go back and kind of go, what were you about there again, and bring that come to the surface, and like, oh, maybe if I let it go, a perspective can change, and then I'm not holding it in my physical body anymore.
Yeah, and it's just thinking at that moment when we have these beliefs, though, we're forgetting what we truly are. So the remembrance of we're divine, that we are that source, that light, that frequency that's connected to God, that consciousness. And so, in essence, do we need to raise our consciousness if we're truly connected to source and we don't have our, let's just say, our individualized self that's holding on to these beliefs, trying to convince us that we're something that we're not. And
It is really a remembering, isn't it?
yeah, so remembering, like, who are you? What are you? What are you here for? And yeah, I mean, so much of it, even these bodies. I mean, we're not this body. Well, I'm not this name. We've forgotten, we've taken on this costume and all the layers of life and past and even beliefs. Those are our creations.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're not what God says we are, And so when you think about it, when we're truly tapped in, you know, tuned in, turned on, we're limitless. We can create anything. We're totally abundant. And so I think about our imagination. So the imagination is the workshop of the mind that creates this entire reality. So it creates our life, it creates um, manifestation. But also, manifestation can get corrupted by the man part of it, where it tries to hijack the divine flow or song or, universe, the one song verse with it. So,
And that's the
so
limitation.
yeah. Yeah, that's the limitation. And that's where I think the things like imposter syndrome and self-sabotage come up. That's not God saying those things, that's not your divine self. That's the
Yeah.
smaller limiting part.
Yeah. And that's it's really the duality of us, is that seeing what we were and what we've held on to, which has created what we are, and then just go, oh, well, if that's not it, then what are we? And that remembering is that you're actually free to be whoever you want or whatever you want. And while we may be limited to some degrees in this body, but not in the mind. And I love that imagination workshop idea, because it gives you permission to set a new idea of, well, I've cleared out the past for my day, and I welcome new beginnings, but what does that feel like for me? Um, I realized there was something that I've wanted most of my life. And there was a time when I got offered it, but my guides were like, mm-mm, not now. If you take that path right now, there will be a very blunt resolve. And I'm like, I don't want that. So I didn't take that path. I didn't understand it, but it was very strong. And it's come back for me. And this time it was different. It was like, it felt like whatever I was needing to see has made me better or remember more. And now that pathway is just opened up. So it's sometimes this journey is a lifetime journey, and in that life things can take a long time to show up, because we we have to remember something, and if we forget it for a very long time, maybe it takes many lifetimes. And sometimes I meet people that are very stuck, they're rocks, and they don't change, so that everything in their life keeps repeating. But it just like water, it can slowly chip off the sharp edges and slowly change the flow and the direction of everything. And sometimes things show up fast. It's just the life, isn't it? And
Mm-hmm.
you got to go with that pause and that stillness when it's showing up, and it helps you that introspection helps you reflect what worked, what didn't, and letting it go. Even the good parts, you have to let them go because you want new good stuff to show up. But in the meantime, by default, if you haven't set your intentions, you got to play out whatever you have to play out. So I like now I am trying to be more less doubt and more certainty about the things that I want to have show up in my life. And when doubt wants to show in, I'm like, no, I don't agree to that. I didn't show up to for somebody else to arrange by default a path of trouble. So I better set some intentions here. Like, what do I want in my day? I want magic. What else do I want? I want good conversation. I want great people. I want, and then be more specific with the little aspects in your life. Something I want abundance to show up. I want joy, the things that create joy for me. And what is that in my mind? And just play with your imagination. Create that space of like, I'm going to play with the idea of, I mean, this is absolutely impossible, my brain tells me, but I'm going to let my imagination play. What if it wasn't impossible? And that's the certainty. It's that what if it's not impossible? Like I spoke to someone this morning and they're like, oh, but is it possible for things to show up? And I'm like, if you let it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And her restriction that was repetitive in her is because she wasn't certain that the elusive imagination could show up. But what if we changed doubt for that uncertainty and just kind of go, hey, let's play with certainty. Let your imagination play with the idea that there is no restriction.
Yeah. You know, and even with the saying that this is what I want, I mean, it's good to define it, but at the same time, when we say we want something, we're also saying that we don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
So to be mindful of our words, because our words have power, and those are the creative device as well, that frequency that goes out. So the I am presence, the I am, presence is that presence of God. I am abundant. I am happy. I am joyful. And then that way, we're embodying it, that it is so. And it's not something that's elusive and that can't come to us. So, and even saying in the morning, like, how good can it get? How good can my day get? Dazzle me, surprise me. That is letting go of our will for a divine will, and the divine timing, like you said, it can take a long time. That wasn't the right time for that experience for you, but now it is. Just like you're gathering little puzzle pieces along the way, or little pebbles of wisdom, pearls of wisdom that you needed to step into that now. Why? Because you're more mature. You would know how to handle being in the limelight, or which you may not have been back then, or for whatever reason we aren't to know. It's just like the timing wasn't then, but it is now, and the timing is always now. So even with this, if we start this and we're on here for, let's say, 15-30 minutes, the person that we are when we get off of this call will not be the same person that arrived at the call, because that's how much energy our cells have changed. Everything has changed. There's nothing the same. So it's just like one little minute adjustment in our mindset, just one little opening to choose again or to change our mind, can divert the entire course of our life. And that's just being in alignment.
I love that explanation of
Yeah.
that's what alignment is just letting each new. I've said that so many times where somebody will ask me something like, what did you say yesterday? I'm like, well, I'm not entirely sure. I'm a different person. So I can give you the words that I said yesterday, but they might mean something different today because I'm not that person anymore. So that I'm aware of myself changing rapidly, and that to connect to old things is just the past. So you've got to be mindful that it wasn't there, but it might be here now. And in that now, and that I think that really is when we're talking about the ascension path. For me, it's about letting go of baggage and being free in your mind to be immediate in that, like, I will allow the experience, everything to show up in this immediate moment, and it's more, each step is very certain, each step is commanding that I am. And I'm really excited about that space that we're walking into. It's beautiful and soft and a little scary, but we're not meant to know everything that's coming up. We're supposed to just kind of play with the imagination and take the steps as though we're there.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I was thinking about what you're saying earlier about the waves too. We're just navigating the waves and allowing that flow of the water to take us. And that is scary. And it a lot of times is difficult to navigate because we want control. We want to grab that wheel of the ship, if you will, and kind of chart the course. But I think more than ever, we're being shown that it's time to trust in spirit and to tune in to enhance those gifts, to enhance our intuitive abilities so that we can hear that guidance and not just do what we've always done and be in the career that we've always been in, or we may be being called to do something else as we enter this new earth, this new way of being. How can we live in harmony? How can we commune together in a whole new way? And that takes an entire new mindset to do it.
Yeah, we certainly have to create that new mind first with self. To
Mm-hmm.
interact with others, you've got to take that responsibility for the self. How do I feel in each moment? Who am I presenting? Like, and like, what do I want to become? And that starts with that relationship to self of each day, let go, plan, that just for magic, just allow the magic to show up. And I am certain that I am abundant. I am certain and that I am that. And I find myself sometimes in my imagination walking as though I'm wearing the clothes that I would be wearing if I was in that situation, and just and feel them and allow that feeling of, oh, this feels nice. I like this skin that I'm in, and
Mm-hmm.
letting that imagination be with me every part of the day. And that's the flow. That's that alignment you said that. I love that checking, are you in alignment with yourself? And if
Yeah.
there's any little energies from somebody else that you're like, oh, hang on, that's not mine. I just let that one go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when I was listening to you say that, I can just imagine you dressed in that and feeling good in your clothes and just glowing and lighting up, and those moments where we're really feeling aligned, they are magical. And I believe that we're all entitled to miracles. We're all entitled to that magic every moment of every day. And actually, A Course in Miracles says something's gone horribly, horribly wrong if you don't have miracles. So I believe that's true. Um, and the biggest part is sometimes it's a challenge. Sometimes, there are dark thoughts or things that come up that can take us off course. So it's definitely not an easy path a lot of times either.
Right. Yeah, that's absolutely right. And those things that come up, the triggers are the ones that's the work, isn't it? Where you have
Mhm.
to kind of like, oh, this is an old pattern, this is an old feeling, and just see it as that. And when you do dig, some people are like, no, 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 I can't go there, and they want to bury it. It's like, no, when you're digging something up, you dig it up and you pull it out. Well, then there's an open, empty space that you can fill with something better. And but the body and the brain will feel like, as you pull something out that's old and face it and look at it, if you will relive it in that moment because it's in your energy field, you've resurfaced it. And that's the scary part, that physical feeling of going through that horrible experience energetically is come back up to the surface, and you're like, and your brain will go, oh my God, we're there again, because the brain just interprets the now. And if the energy is coming out in that now, it might be old, but your brain will interpret it as though it's happening again. And then you just have to trust, have that faith, let it go, for continue to float out of your body, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm whole now without it. I can, and this space that was all of that was being held in, I can just fill it with new adventures and love and nurture of self. And now I have space in this body. It's not holding that old pattern anymore.
Yeah, that's perfect. And also, whenever you were saying that, if you think about the imagination workshop, so the mind doesn't know the difference between the imagination or reality. So by the same token of reliving a trauma, you can rewrite something new of what you want in your reality. So like whatever the life that you want to have, or the relationship, or how you want to see yourself, the home you want to see yourself in, the mind knows no difference. And so the more you use that imagination and see yourself maybe in that home, or on that piece of property, or with that special person, then you're programming the mind in essence to have that experience. It doesn't know the difference between your imagination and the creation. So that's where it begins. It all begins with that thought.
Yeah. And I think that's a really lovely way to end this session, is just that reminder that um, you can start your day anew every day, and just take a moment, whether it's a minute or 5 minutes. And, I so many times, I might take a minute, but then it reminds my body, take another minute somewhere else, because that was really, really pleasant and joyful
Mhm.
to let go. And you can expand that. And if I just remember, and I keep remembering, take another minute somewhere, take another minute somewhere, take another minute. And then I'm checking myself through my whole day. And I guess that's what today was about, was that intent, which I love that you put that in, that raising the consciousness for ourselves, but that also putting it in that we're remembering. We're not lost. We're stuck sometimes. We just have to remember that we're whole, that we're beautiful, that we're always connected.
Yeah. And I mean, when we remember, the consciousness doesn't need raising either. It's like it is there. And I just pulled a card. So here's the card that I pulled.
Relaxed. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels just like what we were talking about. Just to be relaxed.
Yeah. Allow things to flow. Don't create the tension. And when it does show up, observe it. See if you can shift it. I mean, we need a little bit of tension sometimes in our bodies to activate and action something, but then let it go when it's no longer needed.
Right. And so it does serve a purpose. It sometimes gets us redirected,
Mhm.
creates that new course shift.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay. Well, thank you
Yeah.
for joining me today, Gina. It's been
Thank
a
you,
lovely
Sandy.
chat.
This is wonderful. Thanks. I appreciate it.
And thank you, everybody else, for joining us as well. And let us know what you think. Take care.
Take care.